Hello and welcome back to Warped Miniatures. Today we're going to be going over some stuff and continuing on this Ultramarines competitive log. Just giving you some content to think about and help you get a competitive edge in that 40k scene, depending on where you're at, no matter where. There's just some general information here to help you. But getting into it, we're going to go some bookkeeping for the stuff we missed in the last video. This guy right here is the chapter approved Grand Tournament book. This is Mark 1, not the Mark 2, sadly. But it still has a lot of great stuff to help you. So if you find it for like $5 or a friend's trying to give it to you, just accept it because there's a lot of great stuff you can still take from it, especially if you're trying to save some money. But for the most part, you can still find out the few differences through an FAQ or just asking somebody. But it can help you a lot in rules dispute if you want to save time at tournaments and worry more about strategy instead of just trying to hunt down the TO who might be busy with other rules disputes. You can have your own on hand. You don't have to borrow it from somebody else who's busy. But beyond all that stuff, which is a great thing to have it for on itself, you also get access to some pre-gaming material to help you study. So if you're trying to plan out, you don't even know where to begin for a list and you're trying to build it from scratch, you want a good place to start to see who you're going to be your primary objective holders. And you're going to want to know, well, how many do I need? So you go look at the maps of what you might be playing on. So this gives you an idea. You get access to all your GT maps that typically most tournaments are going to be using these maps out of. So this one here shows you 4 primary objectives. The next one's going to show you 5. And the one beyond that's going to show you 6. So here's your one with 5 objectives now. Once it gets in the focus here for you. So now you're going to need to have more objective holders just from going, let's say you rolled randomly this one to play, so now you're going to need 2 to at least score 5 points instead of going for 1. But you're like, okay, so I got 2 primary objectives holders for turn 1, planning to get my 10 points. Well, now, if you want to hold more than your opponent and or hold the majority, let's say you pick domination, which did get a buff, but now you're going to have 3 units help you get those first turn, which would be very doable because you can see that the primaries are close to the deployment, but this just gives you an idea. It gives you somewhere to start when you're trying to build in a list. But beyond that, it also gives you help with secondaries you can look at to get more detailed verbiage of what you need to look at. It's quick, helps you plan ahead of time. Good stuff. Don't leave home without it. Next thing I forgot to mention last time, bookkeeping. Notepad. Take notes before, during, after of all different stuff that you want to, try to remember. It helps. There's a lot of shit that goes on with 40k, and you cannot have enough stuff written down because you're just going to lose track of shit, and you want to be able to remember it. This shit's cheap. You don't have to invest into a book like this for it, but there's alternatives for the book as well. So I'll be right back here. We're going to get to some units that we took out and why, and then we're going to end this video out shortly. First off is the Invader ATV. And the Invader ATV, I really try to make work in a lot of different ways. I tried it with 3, I tried it with 2, and I tried it with 1 unit. But it was always too much of a CP point sink that I had to really just put extra CP in to really make work, especially turn 1 and beyond. But it's just not worth it. The points value as an objective holder, which typically it was, or an objective light infantry killer. And there's just better ways to do it, even if I split it up into 2 80-point units. That's pretty cheap. And it's a fast unit with a T5 toughness to get there, so it's efficient in the points, but there's other ones that have a fly keyword and longer range weaponry that don't waste the point shots and whatnot. So that was a hard one to take out, but we needed to. The Outrider ATV is going to be the next one. For the same reasons that we took out the Invader, the Outrider is kind of going to be on the chopping block. At 150 points, it's really, should have been a no-brainer, but I really wanted it to work. I just love the idea of Primaris units riding into battle on some chainsword wielding attack pikes, but the had to come out at 150 points as an objective holder, and even clearer. That's a lot of points to barely even do the job. The Invictor War suits are 160 in the back there, and that Stormtown is 165, and even just for 100 or let's say 30-40 points more, whatever it is for Redemptor over the Outriders, you're getting a way better job of it at it in a lot of different ways with all its different weaponry. It's just not there. It doesn't cut it. It barely cuts it as a Blood Angel and White Scar pin or a player, as my opinion. But Outrider had to go as well as Invader just because they are a distraction Carnifex. It's not worth the points. You can do better options, and they have enough weaponry between all my Invictors, Redemptors, Storm Talons, and Thunderstrikes, and the heavy Intercessors, along with the fighting potential of the Primaris Captain and the Chaplain in there, to really clear some, even turn 1, a lot of those units. The turn 1 chaff of the unit or your opponent that's trying to hold those primary objectives. So helps me with domination, and I have better choices for, so that's why I took them out, and I'll be right back here. Okay, so getting into another unit that we had to take out. Another one that I'm very sad to see go is the Eradicator. The Eradicator is a very versatile, heavy damage output unit for very efficient points. For 135 points, he puts out the same or more damage on average, especially without a support of a captain to get that reroll ones because he doesn't need it, than a heavy Hellblaster. So that was always cool to have, but it never really took off for him until turns 2 or 3 or later. And even if it was turn 1, he was more effective as a distraction Carnifex, where I could pop Transhuman and Unyielding in the face of the foes to give him a really strong defensive profile to make it unworth the opponent for targeting them. But they were often, for me, sidelined as backfield objective holders because for reasons I just told you earlier, I didn't realize how many tournament GT maps before owning that book there were that required you to have 2 objectives to score 5 points, or if I just wanted to stop my opponent from getting the majority on me. Some maps have 5 objectives where you still only need to hold 1 to get 5 points, but if my opponent's able to hold 3 objectives and I can only hold 2, they're going to get primary 15 points on turn 1, and I just can't afford that. I need to really start pulling some of those points away from my opponents on primaries, just not secondary-wise. But this guy was there's better alternatives to hold backfield objectives. Even the heavy Hellblasters with 36-inch range, but we're going to have even better, cheaper, more efficient units to do that now, as well as some other options but for heavy. But it's sad to see him go, but we had to take him out, and we'll come right back here for the next one. Okay, so finishing up the video here, we have some units that we talk about and why we took them out. We have 3 models here that kind of represent the unit as a whole, but it was always going to be a support unit that we are using this Gravis Captain as the new role for. But this unit is superseding these guys. It just outpaces these guys in a lot of different ways for me. This guy here has the best durability, and that's the biggest thing that I need him for. He's got a T5 toughness, 7 wounds, 3 up armor, 4 up invuln. Obviously that reroll 1 aura of hits for either shooting or fighting for core units within 6, which is huge for Redemptors because of those reroll 1s. I don't want them to take mortal wounds if they don't have to. But above that, he's just got a good access to Gravis and transhuman keywords, so stratagem support, giving him a little bit more defensive capabilities. He's also got access to other stratagems to make him a little more offensive, but that gun and power sword with the rapid fire profile on it allows him to take advantage of super doctrines. He's just very flexible. He's jack of all trades, and Ultramarines, that's a good thing to be. So that's why I picked him over these guys. Short and sweet, the Primaris Tech Marine, even though he's more of a support role in general, he's just not as durable, and if I'm going to be using that role to hold in a backfield objective sometimes, he's going to require an Armor of Indomitus. This guy at 105 points, I don't need to give him a relic at all, and my CP is tight. And I did like the Primaris Captain with the Power Sword here. I mean, he's a great option if I need those extra 10 points, but for 10 points you're getting an extra wound, an extra toughness, and the Gravis the Gravis keyword to give you more access to stratagems, so he's just a better option. And the guy here without the least painted, which should tell you I don't play with him as much, just the gun, he's great just to make that pure support role and make him cheap. He's still better than even like a standard captain in my opinion, but I think the best guy out of all of them is the Gravis Captain variant. But that's why we took the other guys out. Come back next time for the units that we put in and why, and we'll try to split that into the last of the 3 videos, but we'll see, we might do another one after that. But thanks for stopping by, we'll catch you on the flip side.